so I'm gonna need scissors, a glue stick, backing paper, magazines, X-Acto knife, a brayer, some sort of straight edge. Now I think that's it. Okay. If you've ever wanted to try collage but you didn't know where to start, then you're in the right spot. I'm sharing 3 powerful techniques that can really transform your art, even if you're a total beginner. Whether you're brand new to collage or if you make art in a totally different medium, these tools, scale, juxtaposition, and repetition, will immediately level up your art. Plus, I'll be sharing 3 collages that I made using these techniques so you can see them in action. If you want to jump straight to the collage making, then here's a timestamp for you, so you can just go there. So what exactly is collage? I have asked myself many times, and I've Googled, as you do. It's just so broad, and it has so much potential to be a lot of different things. But here's what I got. At its simplest, collage is the act of combining different visual materials onto a single surface. So things like paper, magazine ads, photographs, fabric, trash. It can be abstract, figurative, minimal, maximal. The point is it can be a lot of things. Some popular types of collage include photo montage, mixed media, digital collage, and found objects or assemblage, which is a word I'm not sure I'm saying correctly. I think it might be French. Personally, I tend to like mixed media and photo montage collages, but I'll talk a little more about why later on. But first, let's look at a little history. Collage as an art form first became widely recognized in the 20th century. It was closely tied to the Dada movement, which used collage as a form of protest and absurdity. It was all about breaking away from traditional fine art. Artists like Hannah Hulk, Raoul Hausmann, and others in the Dada movement were doing some really experimental, super weird stuff. And I think it's awesome. That's what's so exciting about collage. It has its roots in rebellion, and it doesn't require a lot of supplies to get started. Speaking of supplies, let's talk about that real quick. The type of supplies you'll need will depend on the type of collage that you're making. I'm going to be making some photo montage collages today, so I'm going to need my scissors, a glue stick, some sort of backing paper or something that you can glue your pieces onto. We'll also need some sort of material, so I have magazines. And what else? X-Acto knives are nice, but not necessarily required. A brayer. I like this for applying even pressure to my pasted pieces, but you don't need this. You can just use the heel of your palm. I often use the side of my thumb, but the goal is just to get air bubbles out or smooth down the glue so you don't have any ridges and bumps. Or maybe you like ridges and bumps, I don't know. I can't think of anything else that we'll need. Oh, you might need some sort of straight edge to trim off edges or just get nice clean lines that aren't torn. But really any straight edge object will work. Rulers are obviously made for this sort of thing, so they're kind of the perfect tool. Okay. Now I think that's it. Okay, let's get into the first technique, scale. I'm starting out in my new sketchbook. I upcycled this from an old Better Homes and Gardens plant book that I had been using for collage. It's the perfect place for me to play around with concepts. I eventually landed on this image of some kids playing soccer. This magazine is from the 60s, so it just had a lot of kind of fun character to it. I love the way that the kids are sort of moving, and I thought it would be cool to place them on the table as they're sort of playing this tabletop game. The first thing that I do with these after I have them cut out of the background is start playing with placement and just make sure that I'm happy with this concept before I spend a whole lot of time trying to cut around all the figures. Frankly, I kind of just ended up putting them all in a similar pattern as they were in the original image, but that was just the way that made the most sense. In any other orientation, it just didn't feel like they were related to one another anymore, and I felt that the main thing I wanted to explore with this collage was the scale differences. I worried that things would just start looking too funky. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, would you have kept to this orientation? Would you have tried to put someone on one of the flowers? I played with that idea a little, but I just wasn't really satisfied with it. My brain was craving some sort of order. I guess there's only so much absurdity that I can take. I did feel like this wasn't quite enough, so I decided to cut out the reflection in the window, and I'm really glad that I did because it just gave me more room to be experimental. I pulled out this National Geographic travel catalog that I picked up at an estate sale. And I found this image of a train. It just looked so Hogwartsy, like a modern Hogwarts kind of setting, you know, very, very beautiful, very old world. And I thought it could be fun to have the train sort of coming through the window, almost like it's on its way to pick up these boys and take them to some magical land. I guess more magical than where they're currently at. And after I got that train all cut up and popped into the scene, I trimmed off the edges and glued the back so I could paste it into my notebook. This took some doing, and I cut out a lot of my faffing about. It's really hard to glue down a full sheet and not accidentally kind of mess it up. So what you didn't see was me sort of pulling it up and repositioning a few times. I recommend collecting materials with a lot of variety in their size. So we're talking zoomed in faces, faraway buildings, oversized objects, tiny people, And then when you're composing your collage, exaggerate those differences. Next up is one of my favorite collage tricks, juxtaposition. In a previous session, I found this image of this traveler. It's an ad from National Geographic, my favorite. And I just loved this guy's expression. He looks so tired and world-weary. I began cutting him out, and I had a decision to make about whether or not I wanted to keep the lady included in this image, and ultimately I decided I just kind of liked it better without her. I thought he looked lonely, and having another person there just didn't really support that story. I start looking through this really cool book I have that has lots of lovely backgrounds, and eventually I land on this sort of rural scene. I love the leading lines that sort of pointed toward him. I thought it could be really cool to maybe add like this camera. I keep trying to use this darn piece, but nothing ever feels right. But maybe like he's sad because he's trying to get away from Big Brother or the feeling of being watched. I found this eagle and cut it out and thought maybe he's so sad because something's about to come get him. Unfortunately, the size of this eagle was just way too big. I would have had to have tried adding some additional like pieces above to extend the sky, or put this all on one big backing paper. I could have probably done that, but I don't know. I wasn't feeling the eagle quite so much. I sat with it for a minute and realized the eagle idea was just going to create too much work that I wasn't really invested in, and it was sort of diluting my original composition concept. It didn't stop me from trying for a while, though. And this is where I got stuck. So when I get stuck, I pull out my notebook and I try to just create without feeling like I have to do something, epic or inspirational. I just pull out scraps and I start playing around with pieces that I have just laying around in my studio. I pulled out some previous work, some stuff that my cat has chewed on a little, and I found these ripped up pieces that I had used in a scrap collage. And I just kind of started playing with them and creating a rough composition. I'd love to hear in the comments, what do you like to do to get out of a creative block? As I was working, my eyes landed on the ad that I had originally pulled the man out of, and I thought, you know what, maybe I'll try cutting out the words and playing with those, and I did. And then I thought, wait, these words might be perfect if I kind of rearrange them a little and create my own meaning. Maybe I can add them to the traveler. I played with placement for the words quite a bit, but I ultimately decided that I really preferred having them kind of put together and above him. So that's like the first thing that you see or notice in the collage. So now that I have my concept sorted out, I trimmed out the edges just to get rid of some of the extra pieces that were sort of messing with my ability to figure out where the center was. I replaced him on and decided I wanted to kind of cut into the ground a little so that I could nestle his suitcase into it so it looked a little more like he was in the scene. Then I used my X-Acto knife to create a impermanent little guide for myself for where I wanted to have the first set of words pasted down. And once I had that finished, I glued him down and got him set in the scene. And that is the power of taking a moment and just doing something else creative and letting your mind sort of relax and get out of your own way. I know that I was overthinking things, and that can sometimes be my biggest struggle in the studio. So when you're hunting for materials for a juxtaposition related collage, I recommend thinking about opposites. Nature versus not nature. Old and new, right? Structured, unstructured. You can be flexible about what those opposites might mean or be to you, but the main thing is trust your instincts and go with it, right? Don't overthink it. The last technique is repetition, which is really useful for creating unity in your collage. I had already collected 3 images that had this kind of idea of yelling, and I knew that I wanted to use them all together. So I started by just cutting out the mouth. It took me a while to get the guy cut out and placed, but once I had him in there kind of set at a jaunty angle, I was really happy with how they were all kind of hanging out together, sort of screaming as one. So I went ahead and glued my pieces down. This mouth ad unfortunately had a rip in it from somewhere, I don't know. It came to me like that. So I do have to start thinking about what I'm going to do about that. I don't think I want to leave it like that. But I am not sure what the solution is at this exact moment. I decided I wanted to kind of make this look a little bit more pop arty, and I like the color pink. I used a few different markers. The first one was an alcohol-based marker that did not work out well, and then I used these new acrylic markers that I got from Amazon as like an impulse buy because they were cheaper than Posca, and I thought, you know what, why not try it? They're okay, but I don't think that they're as good as Posca, so I don't necessarily, I won't tell you what they are. I don't recommend them. After I finished up with Posca and trimmed off the edges, I found something to add to cover up that hole. And somehow I was a little off center, but you know what? That's okay. The trick with repetition is to make it feel intentional, but once you repeat something more than once, it starts to feel like a motif. Collage is such a fun and forgiving art form. You really don't need rules. You need to get a feel for what feels right for you. Oh, and remember when I said earlier that I tend to like mixed media and photo montage collages? Well, the reason is because these are the types of styles that allow me to use these 3 techniques all at once. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button and subscribe. I've got more videos coming where I talk about different types of collage techniques as well as new projects. So I hope to see you again. Thanks so much for hanging out in the studio with me. If you want to spend a little more time here, then check these videos out. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye! See ya! Bye! Bye!